What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with another Overwatch video, and today we're actually going to be talking about a topic that is kind of burning very hotly in the Overwatch community, and that is the Season 3 rankings and placement system, and how a lot of people were not ranked where they thought they should be to start off Season 3 of competitive Overwatch. Now, I'm a relatively new player to Overwatch. I came in right at the end of Season 2 and started to learn how to play the game. I went ahead and tried competitive in Season 2, and I placed right around 2,300 originally, which was towards the upper end of gold, and kind of had some ups and downs, but finished around 2,200 towards the end of the season, and was really improving and playing a lot better at the end of Season 2, so I thought I was doing pretty good for just starting the game. But of course, Season 3 just came out last week, and everybody did their placements, and was kind of shocked to see that a lot of them were placing much lower than they thought they would. Now, Blizzard did come out and say before Season 3 that Season 2 ranking system hadn't worked the way they wanted it to, or hadn't worked as intended, and they thought that a lot of people were placed in ranks that they weren't actually capable of performing at. They said there were way too many people in gold and platinum, and so a lot of those people were going to be dropped down. They said not to be surprised if your Season 3 placement was quite a bit lower than where you were in Season 2. Well, a lot of people either didn't heed that advice, didn't read it, and I remember the developer actually saying that he was expecting the apocalypse in terms of a reaction from a lot of the community. And that's pretty much what we saw from a lot of players after Season 3 placements went live. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experience with it, and kind of tell you how I feel about it, and how I'm trying not to worry about it too much, where I see a lot of people being really, really salty and just focusing on how bad it is, saying they're not going to play competitive this year because they're too low and they can't get back out of Elo hell or whatever. But that's a bad attitude to have, especially with the way they've changed the way the ranking works after a win or a loss, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well, and why I think that's a bit of an improvement. Now, they still do have a lot of work to do with improving Overwatch competitive, especially I think the matchmaking to me is still terrible. They still have got to figure out a way to deal with levers and trolls and things. I really wish they'd bring back the avoid player selection for your own team, where you could avoid playing with certain people. Because, you know, there are people I get on my teams who I really honestly think they're either just screwing around on purpose, or they just can't walk and chew gum at the same time without tripping over their own 2 feet, and are just awful at the game, and I'd like to not have to play with them over and over and over again. But we'll get into that here in a minute. So my Season 3 placement actually went fairly well, at least I thought it did. I played a lot of different characters in the time between Season 2 and Season 3. I used Quick Play to kind of learn how to play some new characters. I played a little bit more Reinhardt and Mercy in my placement matches. Played D.Va quite a bit, and Lucio when I had to fill in that role. But overall, it was very enjoyable until the last few games. I actually started off 5-1. I won, out of the first 6 matches, I was 5-1. The last 4 matches, on 2 of them, I had a lever, which left us in a 6 versus 5 situation, and that didn't work out very well, and we didn't do so hot. Lost those 2 matches, and the other 2 matches I had of the 4 in a row that I lost, we just had a lot of people who either were trolling or were just not very good at Overwatch, and didn't want to try to do well at the game. So that definitely did not help us out in any sense of the matter. But either way, so I went 5-5, which is exactly what I went in Season 2. So I was a bit shocked, like a lot of other people were, when my starting rank for Season 3 was 1,800 in silver. And the reason I was surprised at this is, like I said before, I did place in mid-range of gold, higher end of gold in Season 2. And towards the end of Season 2, I felt like I was really playing well. I noticed I was getting matched with a lot of platinum players, and I took a lot of steps to improve my own gameplay. Watched a lot of videos on YouTube to learn to improve my aim, messed with my sensitivity, tried to learn how to play a lot of different characters, got better awareness of my surroundings in the game when I was playing, situational awareness and whatnot. And I also use a lot of the Overwatch statistic apps you get on your phone or go on the internet. There's Master Overwatch, Oversumo. There's quite a few of them. I don't think I've been as obsessed with the statistics in a game since I was a really big Battlefield 3 player. And I really love that there's so much info out there about Overwatch. You can use it to help yourself improve. You can use it to track your stats and see how you're playing. And across all of those apps, most of my data was showing that I was playing at a high gold level to low platinum level throughout towards the end of Season 2, which was I was really happy with that, because it showed that I was improving even though I had just picked up the game. And for my 10 placement matches, it actually showed that I played on average towards more of a platinum level, and yet it put me at silver at 1800. So I was kind of disappointed in that. I didn't understand. I said, you know, I played really well in the matches. I try not to use the whole, oh, I got gold medals argument, because that usually doesn't work. Just because you're playing really good might not mean you're playing well in a team situation. So I try not to talk about that. But, however, there are points in time where you're doing all you can as a teammate to be a good teammate, and you just can't help it if the rest of your team is not playing very well, or if you have trolls on your team. So it's kind of a two-way argument with that. But I did very well in my placement matches. I got a card, an in-game card in just about all of them. Performance-wise, when I was tanking, I was usually at the top. And when I was DPSing, I was usually, you know, number one in all the DPS stats that you need to be. So I was really disappointed that I got dropped so down so far. And it kind of really, you know, made me not want to play for a little while, because I was just like, wow, you know, maybe I'm not doing as well as I thought. But at the end of the day, I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to keep playing. I'm not going to worry about the ranking. I know I'm improving because my stats are showing it, and I'm, you know, seeing in quick play I'm getting matched with much better players, so I'm just going to keep on playing. And I did that, and quite honestly, I'm only 6 hours into Season 3, and I'm already right back up at 2300. I'm back up into gold. I think I'm very easily going to make it to platinum this year, or not this year, but in this I guess this year, because it is December, so I guess we're almost out of 2016. But I think I can play into platinum in Season 3. I don't want to get delusions of grandeur and think I'm going to be a diamond player or whatever yet, but the goal is to improve. So maybe for Season 4, I'll try to get to that level. But for right now, I just want to get into platinum and be a consistent platinum player and learn how to play a lot more characters before I start worrying about getting ranked any higher. And so what I did was I said I'm just going to try to play the game and try to enjoy it and continue to improve and continue to be a good team player and communicate, do team synergy. And I started picking characters to synergize with what people had already picked, because I noticed one of the problems in Season 3 again is that people insta-lock DPS right off the bat because they think it's the sexy pick. It's going to get them more points. They're going to be able to do better or whatever. And I just started picking, that's one of the reasons I started playing Reinhardt quite a bit more, was to protect some of those DPS players who maybe they weren't so good, but keeping them alive longer allowed them to actually contribute and help us win the match. I also started playing Mercy because a lot of people are playing Pharah this season, and I was getting kind of bored of playing Lucio. And quite honestly, in some matches where you have tanks, a lot of tanks, you don't really need Lucio because he can't heal that quickly to refill their big health pool, so it's better to have someone like Mercy or Ana where you can burst heal really quickly and get the tanks back on their feet. I'm not really good with Ana in competitive. I'm decent with her in quick play, but she's a very complicated character to play, and I don't really want to try using her in competitive yet because I feel like I won't perform very well with her and then let the team down. But playing some different heroes has been a lot of fun, and like I said, it's been helping the team composition out, and it seems like I'm doing a lot better now. And like I said, I'm already back up to 2300. I think I should be able to crack platinum pretty soon. And so overall, the little hit to my ego at the start of the placement was not as bad as it seems. And I think it's that way for a lot of people in general. If you focus too much on the bad, you're just going to not play well at all, and you're going to focus on that, and you should be focusing on trying to get better and trying to play better. And that's really the only thing I can offer on that, is to not worry too much about what your placement rank was. Now, I know there are some people who do have some legitimate gripes, because there are a lot of people who actually won 8 or 9 placement matches and were placed like 1,000 points lower than last year. So that's kind of weird. And there's players that played with their friends, and they, all 2 or 3 of them played very similarly throughout all the placement matches. And then for some reason, there were huge differences in their end of placement ranking system. So very, very odd, and I think that Blizzard still has a lot to work on. My biggest gripe is still matchmaking. I still seem to wind up paired with a lot of people who just really don't know how to play Overwatch, but I'll leave that for another time. Now, one thing that I have enjoyed about Season 3, and although there's a lot of complaints about Season 3, I want to say something positive about it, is the way they've managed to rework the ranking system for wins and losses. Before, one of the things in Season 2 that used to demoralize me quite a bit was I would play well for a couple games. I'd go on a 3 or 4 game winning streak, and then I'd inevitably get that team where no one really knew what they were doing or knew what they were playing, and we would lose. And that one loss would knock off all of the ranking that I had earned from those 3 or 4 wins, and that was just maddening. Season 3 is not that way. You actually get a lot less of a penalty if you lose a match, especially if you play well in that match. I've noticed my SR losses in some of these matches have only been like 17 or 18 points, before it would be up to 40 or 50, no matter how good I played. And that's really great. And then that way, if you win 3 or 4 games and you get a loss here and there, it's not going to set you back and just cripple your morale when playing the game. And I think that's great. I'm glad they did that. I hope that continues throughout the season, because I think it's going to allow a lot of people to rank up if they play well. And that's the other thing too. Even if you got a lower start than you thought you would, you can still rank up and still play consistently, and you'll get better. So overall, Season 3, it's a mixed bag so far, but like I said, I'm really enjoying it, and I will update my progress, I'm sure, in another video. But either way, let me know how your Season 3 placement matches went. Let me know if you're really upset about how it all went down and how it worked out for your final score, or if you're like me and you're kind of just not worrying about it and trying to rank up. Either way. That's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, welcome your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.